Okay, so this blurry but accurate picture of Hakeem Olajuwon blocking somebody's shot is part of tonight's discussion on the underrated. We are going to talk about Victor Wembanyama and why he deserves to be the Defensive Player of the Year. Not next year, but this year, North America. To the point we go. Now, there are really only a couple key stats that you really need to look at when you think of Victor Wembanyama actually winning the Defensive Player of the Year award for this past regular season. And those stats actually, in this particular case, Rudy Gobert fans, has absolutely nothing to do with your defensive team ranking. We actually need to look at the individual stats to actually determine who was the best defensive player of the year in the association. And it's so unbelievably obvious, it's not even funny. And as I read these stats, you also have to factor in the fact that Greg Popovich, the head coach of the San Antonio Spurs, didn't really step on the Wemby gas pedal until about midway through the season to begin with. It took Wemby a little while to get going, but once he got going, he was basically unstoppable on the defensive side. We know he's going to win Rookie of the Year, and we can see all of that offensive talent, but his defensive talent sets him apart from anybody in the NBA today. At 7'4", he averaged 1.3 steals per game. He averaged 3.5 shot blocks per game, and he had 3 deflections per game. Compare that to Rudy Gobert's 1.6 deflections per game, Rudy Gobert's 2.1 block shots per game, and Rudy Gobert, and I'm not even sure why we have this stat, 0.6 steals per game. So he leaves a game not even getting a steal, being as tall and as lengthy as Rudy Gobert is. You think at the very least he'd average 1 steal a game, but that is not the case. So clearly, from a statistical standpoint, Victor Wembanyama deserves to win this year's Defensive Player of the Year award. I'm straight to the point on this. There is actually no argument for Rudy Gobert to actually win this award. Now, if you look at the old Magic 8 Ball, the old Magic 8 Ball might say it's not Victor's turn. You know, the unwritten rule in the world of sports is that you have to wait your turn. You have to wait. What are you, going to a deli? It is not about a number. It is about what actually happened this past year in the NBA, regardless of where you were at the start of the season, regardless of what sort of odds there actually were for you to actually win a particular award. If your stats actually merit it and warrant it, you absolutely deserve to win the award. Finally, I wanted to bring up Hakeem Olajuwon simply to say, I mean, one of the great nicknames of all time, the Dream, but the Dream actually had for his career over 3,800 block shots. He averaged per game throughout his entire career, which was, of course, a fairly long career. He played from 1984 and officially retired in 2002. He averaged 3.09 blocks per game. So if you do the math and you say, okay, what's it going to take for Victor Wembanyama to actually beat Hakeem Olajuwon? Well, if he stays at the pace that he's at and averages 3.5, and I think he'll actually have some seasons where he averages between 4 and 5 block shots a game, but let's just say he averages 3.5 shot blocks a game. It will basically take him 16 years in the NBA, averaging about 70 games per season, to actually surpass the dream. So if Wembanyama can actually stay healthy, you, my friends, might have just witnessed the birth of the greatest block shooter, making up words, in the history of the NBA. All right, that's it for tonight's Underrated. We're straight to the point on this particular one. Go ahead and check out our big sports website when you have a chance at underrated.media. Subscribe to our daily newsletter if you can. It is honestly really the best daily sports newsletter in the industry. Check all of that out. Thanks so much for tuning in. And as always, for the Underrated, I am Dave Dpoy, wishing you all a tremendous rest of your sports viewing day. To the guitar riffs we go.